Hey, what's up, y'all? It's your boy Toby D, and you have now tuned in to my Christian audio podcast, Faith Football Fans. And it is now time to preview week one of the Tampa Bay Bucks versus the Atlanta Falcons. Now, of course, you know there's going to be high energy and confidence going into this game, specifically on the Bucks side of things, because they know they swept the Falcons twice last season, once in our house and once in their house. And not to mention, now they have our former offensive coordinator as their head coach, Dirk Cutter, and our former head coach as their defensive coordinator, Mike Smith, on the team. And word is they really want to win this game for their coaches coming back to the Atlanta Dome. Now, of course, you know the season kicks off with the Carolina Panthers and the Broncos in a rematch from that Super Bowl. And if Carolina should happen to fall in that game against the Broncos, this could be a big day, and the game could be even more huge for the Atlanta Falcons and the Tampa Bay Bucks, not to mention the New Orleans Saints, because whoever wins the games that they have to play, of course, we knowing the Bucks having to play us week one, could be sitting on top of the division at least for 1 week of enjoyment until that next game they have to play in the season. Now, there are some things that concern me going into week one, and I'm not going to lie about it. The pass rush, for one, which we should see hit the field first to get things started for Dan Quinn, because Dan Quinn has shown that he likes to defer the football until the second half to give it to the offense and put the defense out there first. In all four preseason games, the Falcons defense has been out there getting first crack at it. Even when coin toss was won by the offense, they still elected to receive, causing the Falcons to come out there first. And I don't think Dan Quinn would see it any other way, as I look for that trend to continue in this game week one against the Tampa Bay Bucks. Now, also, that would mean is that we will probably really get to see what combinations the Falcons are really going to trot out there against this Bucks team. Now, we still have yet to see the Beasley, Claiborne, Shelby, and Freeney combination. We were supposed to see that in preseason 2. Of course, unfortunately, Vic Beasley was down with a shoulder injury. And then when Vic Beasley returned back in preseason 3, unfortunately, Dwight Freeney was down with a back injury. So we weren't able to see that combination. Now, two guys that have been really popping off for me is Brooks Reed and Adrian Claiborne. And I'm looking for that to continue in this week one matchup against the Tampa Bay Bucks. Now, the thing that we will have to watch out for defensively is Jameis Winston can take off with the football. This is a guy that normally is not set up to do that, because that's not what he's trying to do. But when he has to, he will take off with the football. We saw him embarrass the Falcons, I have to admit it, on the 3rd and 18, getting a first down, running for 19 yards, setting them up for a field goal, which eventually helped to lead to their win over the Atlanta Falcons in their second regular season game against the Atlanta Falcons, with Levante David, their linebacker, sealing the deal, picking Matt Ryan off on a pass to Julio Jones. Now, the other thing that I would be looking for is I want to see what this matchup is going to be like between Joe Holly and Grady Jarrett. Grady Jarrett has shown some flashes of brilliance in the preseason, showing that he can dominate in his new position as the nose tackle / defensive tackle in this defense of the Atlanta Falcons. And will the Atlanta Falcons play him more in the nickel package like they did some in the 3rd preseason game against Ryan Tannehill and his offense for the Miami Dolphins? I believe this guy can be a great tone setter for the Falcons defense, and if he has a good day, I can see this whole defense getting fired up and coming out there and wrecking things up for this offense that we're going to see out of Jameis Winston. Now, the other thing is we have to be prepared for on the defensive side of the ball is the no huddle. It is word there, and we saw an example of it, that more keys are going to be given by Dirk Cutter to Jameis Winston to run this offense. And Jameis Winston looked pretty good running it, no huddle offense against the Browns. Although it was the Browns and their defense sucks right now, but they still look good offensively. You got to give them credit for that. And we will see that coming into this game for the Atlanta Falcons. And we will have to be ready for it as a defense. Now, the thing that I do think the Falcons offense can do, which there are still questions about that. What is their red zone offense really going to look like? Dan Quinn and his staff have been putting a lot of emphasis on the red zone offense, and Dan Quinn even went as far as to say that they were implementing new red zone routes. Now, I'm interested to see what those routes are going to be and how they are going to fit the personnel that's going to be on the field between Julio Sanu and Nick Williams and some of the other guys, Aldrich Robinson and Justin Hardy, on this offensive side of the ball. Now, I think the Falcons are going to put a lot of heavy tight ends out here against this defense. Now, which, by the way, is a stout front in my mind. I think Mike Smith has some guys up front that can really get out to the quarterback and show they can get out to the quarterback. I think they were like first in sacks, albeit preseason. Still, that is huge because I remember New Orleans when they were getting out to the QB during Rod Ryan's first year. I knew that they were going to become sack monsters when they got into the regular season, and they did. They produced a lot of sacks for that 2013 season, unfortunately for us and all the other people, and made the playoffs that year. And so this could be a possibility that will happen with Tampa if the Falcons don't get a hold of this game off the rip against this Tampa Bay Young Bucs team. I do believe that the Falcons offense can have some success against the two safeties that Tampa Bay has, but they will first have to hold up against that stout front that will be getting out the Matt Ryan, being led by Gerald McCoy in the interior. And if they don't do that, we are going to have a very long day. But I believe in Alex Mack. I think that's going to be a great matchup between him and Gerald McCoy going at it. This offensive line, I'm really putting a lot of trust in them to get some things going. I think Aldrich Robinson is going to be a secret weapon for us that Tampa will not be ready for going into this first week in the regular season. And if that happens, where we're able to stretch the field deep, that will allow Julio and Sanu to really be able to dominate things underneath in the passing game when it comes to the short to intermediate passes, which Matt Ryan does very well. Of course, we are going to have to move the pocket. Matt Ryan is going to have to be rolling out and bootlegs and all of those things, play action, whatever we need to do to keep Matt Ryan upright because, like I said, they have an aggressive front. Now, the other thing I will be looking forward to is seeing how well that we are going to be able to match up against the running backs that Tampa Bay Bucs have. Now, of course, we've seen a lot of our rookie linebackers, Deion Jones and Devondre Campbell, get out on the field. They got a lot of snaps and a lot of work in under Jeff Ulbrich. And Devondre Campbell has had a pretty good camp and preseason manning down on running backs. It is going to be interesting to see how he does against Charles Sims. And it's going to be interesting to see how Deion Jones does against Doug Martin. Deion Jones, by the way, did have a few issues when it came to the tackling on a few running backs this preseason. And hopefully he gets that thing together before he has to face Doug Martin, who is very slick coming out of the backfield. You have to get on this guy before he is able to get going, because if you don't, he's going to have a lot of yards on you before you know it. And that is a matchup that's going to be interesting to me. And if I didn't mention it before, Grady Jarrett and Joe Holly, I can't wait to see how Grady Jarrett does. This is a guy that has shown that he is capable of handling the new position of nose tackle, defensive tackle. The Falcons also on the defense, since we're on the defensive side of the ball, are going to have to watch out for this guy named Adam Humphries, number 11 for the Tampa Bay Bucs. This is a very slick slot wide receiver who seems to have chemistry with Jameis Winston, and you're more than likely are going to have undrafted rookie Brian Poole on this guy. Brian Poole has gotten rave reviews in camp and has looked pretty decent in the preseason in the slot. So I'm expecting him to continue his progress under Marco Emmanuel. I'm also expecting the new passing defensive coordinator of the Atlanta Falcons, Jerome Henderson and Marco Emmanuel, to cook up some great coverage schemes in order to be able to mix things up to hopefully force Jameis Winston into some situations that I know he would not like to be in and turn the ball over. And those are certain things that I'm going to be looking for I would like for you to comment, subscribe, and let me know what you're going to be looking for and think the Falcons should do. One other guy I forgot, C.J. Goodwin, a converted corner. Akeem King is down. He was given an injury settlement, so he's not on the 53-man roster. What will this guy look like against guys like Vincent Jackson and Mike Evans should he be matched up on him from time to time? Because he has the length and the speed to be able to do what Dan Quinn would like to do. And he had a great camp leading up into the preseason. That is it. Sorry I may have gone a little longer, but I'm just excited about this game week 1. Like I said, please subscribe, comment, let me know what you think. And this is your boy, Faith Football Fans, Toby D. Peace. I'm gone.